Hello, it's January of 2023, and I would like to publish some philosophical uh, conversation that I wish I could have with the Russian police. The Russian police have the reputation of being brutal. And what I'd have to say is that they are being dumb. Because they seem to embody everything that's wrong with police officers. Being thick brutes, thick as in thick skulled, ignorant, and enforcing the law no matter what, but not thinking about the why, or is it even good to enforce the law? But before someone becomes a cop, that's what they think about. I mean, they see it this way. What would society be like if there was no law and order? It'd be chaotic. There'd be crime everywhere. There'd be theft, murder, rape, and whatnot, but that's exactly what Russia is. Not in spite of law, not in spite of police, not in spite of a big, strong man, a manly man, because Russia seems to have this thing about masculinity. Manly man in the Kremlin, stabilizing the country. He's the savior of Russia. No. Russia is in a bad situation because of Putin, because of the law, because of the police, because Putin is a criminal and the police are his gang. Oh, no, yeah, they get a cut. I mean, they get to be the ones doing all the raping. Sure. But is that patriotic to Russia? To rape Russia? When Putin took power, and what did he do in Chechnya? He bombed the place. He burned the place. He sent in his army. Got a lot of boys killed. Got a lot of Chechens killed. Got a lot of Russian and Chechens killed. Now he wants to settle the score in Ukraine. Well, first of all, like Chechnya and Ukraine, they're not really Russian. You go far enough south, and before you even get to the Caucasus, the groups that have been there longer than the Russians were, they're not Russians. You go north of St. Petersburg, it's not really Russians that were there. Those are Finnic groups. And you go east of the Ural Mountains, those are not Russian people. Russians do live there, but that's not Russia. There's other groups that were there longer. In Belgorod, the people who lived there were Ukrainians. Ukrainians are not Russians. But even the Russians want to be free, and they cannot visibly protest for their freedom because it's not allowed. So you have to really ask yourself, are you doing Russia a favor by allowing this thief, this rapist, this murderer to be the one who's immune to the law, rather than protecting Russia from him. Rather than protecting Russia from Putin. You see an old lady, perhaps your mother or your grandmother. You see a young man, your son or your grandson, your nephew, your cousins, your brothers and sisters, protesting against Putin. And what are you going to do? Drag them away? Throw them away? Your own family? Russia? Put Russia in prison? Beat Russia? Rape Russia? Murder Russia? And then one man, he survives. He gets to be free. He's more Russian than they are? Your country? It doesn't make sense. You have to figure out what actually is the law. What actually would make Russia more stable? What actually would be a more stable society than that criminal who's in charge? And we have plenty of evidence against him. The whole world, even Russian law, has evidence against him. Once you arrest him, and it's not my place to tell you what to do, but I think that if you did this, you make Russia free. I mean, the world will help you, I think. I mean, there's already help. Once you make Russia free, things will get better. Put your people in charge. Put your country in charge. Not a criminal. Not a guy who took bribes from the oligarchs. Not a guy who murdered people in Chechnya and is now murdering young men, your childbearing age men in Ukraine, getting you killed. I mean, from what I see, you really don't have any choice. You're just between, well, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. He committed election fraud. I mean, he had people counting ballots without even looking at them. That's good enough for a judge to put his opponent in office. Just that his campaign committed election fraud. That's something you could arrest him on. People who work for him rape. People who work for him murder. He committed crimes in Syria. He committed crimes in Africa. And yet, you would rather brutalize the Russian people. What I have to say about the Russian police is, you are disgusting. You're not doing your duty to your country. You're not protecting the Russian people. You're not joining the protest against this autocracy. You're destroying your country. And that's about the worst thing that you can do as police officers.